Hey there. Welcome back. But today, don't just watch. Feel this. Something massive is happening in Asia right now, a silent shift that no one's ready for. And nope, it's not China flexing or Japan innovating. It's the Philippines. A country long overlooked, underestimated, even pitted, is now flipping the script. From years of poverty and people fleeing just to survive, to becoming the place that might just save the region. But the question is, who's really benefiting from this boom? And who's about to get crushed? Smash that like button if you're ready to unpack the raw truth. Because by the end of this video, you'll either be proud or completely speechless. Oh, so now the Philippines is booming? Now everyone's pretending like they saw it coming? Spare me. Last year, the Philippines clocked a 6.5% GDP growth rate. That's more than double the US, yes, the almighty America, the one with all the Hollywood, Harvard, and hangovers. And yet, nobody's clapping. Nobody's celebrating. Why? Because deep down, a lot of folks, even Filipinos, don't believe it. They're too used to the struggle. Too conditioned to expect failure. Like trauma, but nationalized. Meanwhile, the World Bank, the global snooze fest of economists in suits, suddenly calls us one of East Asia's most dynamic economies. Oh, now we're dynamic? Just last decade you treated us like the kid no one picked in dodgeball. What changed? Oh right, numbers. Cold, heartless numbers. But let me tell you what they're not showing on those graphs. They're not showing the UFWs who raised this economy with nothing but calloused hands, cracked voices, and remittances that hold entire families afloat like duct tape on a sinking ship. They're not showing the single mom working 2 jobs in Dubai, sending money home while crying in a bathroom stall between shifts. That GDP didn't grow by accident. It grew from sacrifice. Pain. Millions of Filipinos sacrificing their dreams so this economic surge could look good on a PowerPoint slide. And you know what really grinds my gears? Everyone acts shocked. Oh wow, the Philippines? Growing fast? I thought it was all jeepneys, Jollibee, and floods. Yeah, we have those too. We also have software engineers in Davao working 3 monitors, call center reps in Manila who can imitate a Texan better than your actual uncle from Houston, and fintech startups rising faster than your overpriced Starbucks. But nobody wants to talk about that. Because the world's addicted to underestimating us. It's like an international pastime. Here's the truth. This country's not emerging. We've been ready. The only thing that's been holding us back is other people's low expectations. And I get it, I do. Optimism feels dangerous when you've grown up seeing power outages, brownouts, corruption headlines, and some mayor turning his office into a karaoke bar. But listen, what's happening right now isn't hype. It's history. This 6.5% growth isn't just a number. It's your Lola's sacrifice. Your Kuya's overtime. Your cousin's tears in a dorm room 6,000 miles away. So if you're Filipino and still not proud, ask yourself, what more do we need to prove? If you're foreign and still skeptical, keep watching. Because this island nation of maids and mangoes, it's turning into the Lion of Asia. And guess what? We're just getting started. Now go ahead. Laughed out, scroll past. But don't come running when Manila turns into the next Singapore with better food and warmer people. And if this made you feel something, hit that subscribe button. Or just sit there pretending your country's economy isn't sinking like your dating life. I said what I said. And just when you thought the economic surge was all smoke and mirrors, boom. Here comes the concrete. Massive infrastructure push. And not some cute repaint the sidewalk kind of push. I'm talking real steel, real sweat, and numbers that slap you harder than your Lola when you forget to bless. It's called Build Better More, and I know, sounds like something your uncle with a 3rd beer would name. But this ain't just a slogan. It's a $110 billion reality check for anyone still stuck thinking the Philippines is all nipa huts and roosters. 6% of GDP is being pumped straight into public infrastructure. 6%. That's not pocket change. That's a national flex. Now let's talk about where that money's going. Because oh boy, this is where it gets juicy. A $7 billion Metro Manila subway. Yes, a subway. In Metro Manila. The same Manila where crossing EDSA during rush hour feels like auditioning for Squid Game. You ever seen a Filipino try to squeeze into an MRT at 6 p.m.? It's not public transport, it's full contact sport. Now imagine that chaos underground, on rails, with air conditioning. That's the dream. And finally, it's not a joke anymore. Then there's the $15 billion new Manila International Airport. You hear that sound? That's NAIA packing its bags. Because let's be real, NAIA has been clinging to relevance like a Tito who still uses a Nokia. This new airport? It's not just to impress tourists. It's about being taken seriously. It's about not being the punchline every time someone Googles worst airports in Asia. And then there's Clark. Yup, that place people used to only care about during balloon festivals. Well, now it's morphing into a smart city. We're talking green spaces, AI-driven transport, data-driven planning. Meanwhile, half the US can't even fix a pothole without declaring martial law. But here's the thing they're not telling you. None of this happened by accident. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's a country that's finally sick of being the underdog, and decided to pour concrete over the excuses. So to anyone still laughing at the Philippines, enjoy the chuckle. But don't be surprised when that airport gate number is written in Tagalog, or when your future flight has a layover in Clark, not Changi. Because this time, we're not just building better, we're building back with receipts. And you better believe the world's gonna feel it. Now let me say this loud enough for the folks in the back still thinking the Philippines is just a bunch of jeepneys and karaoke machines. This country's got brains. 500,000 college grads every year. 500,000. That's not a small step for man number, that's an academic tsunami. And here's the kicker, a lot of them are in STEM. Yes, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Not just courses like how to fold banana leaves 101, thank you very much. We're pumping out engineers like it's a factory line. Programmers, coders, analysts, designers, you name it. And while other countries are still debating if AI is scary, Filipinos are busy building the dang algorithms that decide your future. But you wouldn't know that if all you ever watch are poverty porn documentaries or reruns of Locked Up Abroad set in Manila. Now let's talk tech hubs. Ever heard of Cebu and Clark? If not, it's because you're still stuck mentally in 2007. These places are turning into mini Silicon Valleys, except with better seafood and fewer tech bros riding scooters wearing Patagonia vests. Cebu, once known mostly for Lechon and Sinulog, is now home to BPOs, AI labs, fintech startups. And Clark? Yeah, that place you only visit when you accidentally booked a budget flight on a promo deal. Well, it's quietly turning into a smart city fortress while you blink. You think San Francisco is the future? Go ahead, enjoy the $5,000 studio apartment with free sidewalk needles and a view of a tech apocalypse. Meanwhile in Clark, they're planning sustainable urban grids and training the next AI overlords. In English, baby. Which brings me to the next point, language. English-speaking workforce. Not sort of, not trying. Fluent. Clear. With accents that somehow still feel like your childhood friend trying to sell you a second-hand PlayStation. And don't get me started on Western cultural influence. Filipinos grew up on a steady diet of Hollywood, pop music, NBA games, and Marvel movies. You think onboarding them into a US tech company is hard? They probably already know your company's HR policy, binge the same shows, and understand your sarcastic Slack messages better than your team in Ohio. Now let's pause. Because this is where I get mad. Really mad. For years, the Philippines was treated like some cute, tropical outsource buddy. Cheap labor, they said. Virtual assistants, they mumbled. Well, guess what? That so-called cheap labor is now building your backend, coding your apps, fixing your bugs, writing your copy, and training your AI. While you sleep. You think this country is behind? It's behind you. Breathing down your neck. So go ahead. Keep sleeping on the Philippines. But don't come crying when your job gets replaced by someone in Cebu who works faster, thinks sharper, and won't ask for free coffee every morning. The brains are here. The tech is here. And this time, we're not just in the conversation, we're rewriting it. So after flexing its brain power, what's next for the Philippines? Huh? A tech boom? Check. STEM-loaded workforce? Check. Now brace yourselves, because this one might just shut a few mouths. They're gearing up for war. Yup. $35 billion on military modernization. Ships, fighter jets, missile-capable warships. Read that again. Missile-capable. You know what that means? The Philippines ain't just playing defense anymore. It's saying, hey, if you mess around, you just might find out. Now let me ask you something. Why is it so hard for people to take the Philippines seriously? Like, do we have to spell it out with a laser-guided missile to get noticed? Let's talk facts. The US just greenlit a $5.58 billion deal for F-16s. F-16s. These are not mosquito swatters. These are air dominance beasts, top-tier fighter jets. So for those of you still picturing the Philippines as a place with bamboo huts and roosters, wake up. There are fighter jets flying over those roosters now. You still think it's just mangoes and beaches? Joint defense agreements with the US, Germany, Japan. That's not just cooperation, that's a squad. And they're forming it because of what's brewing in the South China Sea. Oh yeah, we're going there. Now let me say this with my whole chest. The Philippines is literally standing up to China, in its backyard, in open waters. Not behind tweets, not hiding under a desk, not writing angry emails. They're out there. With ships. With weapons. With soldiers. Can we stop and applaud that for a second? Because this isn't just about borders. It's about dignity, sovereignty, pride. And the world better pay attention, because if this tiny archipelago is brave enough to stand its ground in front of a global superpower, what's your excuse for giving up every time your Wi-Fi lags or Starbucks gets your name wrong? Let's be real. For decades, the Philippines was the sidekick in every geopolitical movie. Cute, helpful, but replaceable. Well, guess what? Robin just hit the gym and bought a tank. And it's funny, How we applaud countries like Israel or South Korea for their defense innovation, but when the Philippines starts upgrading, people clutch their pearls like, but why? Why? Because we're done playing weak. So tell me, what do you really think? Is it too late for Western media to admit they've been underestimating this country for too long? Can a small island nation really push back against a giant? And if so, what does that say about every excuse you've ever made for not stepping up? The Philippines is arming up. Waking up. And let me tell you, when a country with brains, tech, and a spine decides it's done being ignored, that's when the real power begins. So now you've got the Philippines investing in tech, churning out engineers, stacking jets, building airports, and you're still asking why it matters? Okay, fine. Let's draw the damn map for you. Strategic. Freakin'. Location. The Philippines isn't just some tropical detour for your Bali Envy Pinterest board. It's literally smack in the middle of one of the most tension-filled high-stakes regions on Earth, the South China Sea. Do you know what runs through that patch of ocean? Oh, just about $3 trillion worth of global trade. Trillion. With a T. And yes, ships, oil, food, semiconductors, raw materials, all squeezing through that narrow corridor. Imagine your arteries being blocked. That's what would happen to the global economy if things go south here. And yet, there's China. Playing territorial Pokemon like, I claim this reef, that island, and oh, this shoal too. Newsflash, Sandy K and Second Thomas Shoal aren't yours. This ain't Monopoly, and you're not passing go with other people's territory. But they keep pushing, testing, bullying. And here's where it gets wild. The Philippines is pushing back. Not just on Twitter, not just through press statements, but with ships, with patrols, with soldiers staring down Chinese vessels like, we dare you. Now ask yourself, how many countries would do that? Seriously. How many nations would stand there, eyeball to eyeball with a superpower, while knowing the entire world is pretending not to notice? I'll wait. This is where people forget just how insanely brave this country is. It's like showing up to a gunfight in flip-flops, and still making the other guy sweat. Because when your location controls global trade, you don't beg for respect, you command it. And the real kicker? They're not standing alone. International allies are watching. Some are whispering support. Others are gearing up. Because they know if the Philippines goes down, the whole region trembles. So tell me, why do we still act like this is a side character in world affairs? Do we wait until a full-blown conflict explodes before we recognize what's at stake? This isn't just a Filipino issue. This is about global security, global trade, and global guts. And the Philippines? Oh, they've got guts. Plenty of it. In fact, they're out here with no cape, no budget like the big guys, but still holding the line like a damn Marvel hero. Except no one's filming. But maybe they should. Because when a small nation stands tall in a storm that could wreck the whole planet's economy, you better start paying attention. You better ask yourself, who's really holding the line for the world right now? And here's a hint, it ain't who you think. You ever get the feeling that the world's playing Monopoly, and the Philippines just picked up the get rich or stay quiet card? I mean seriously, why aren't we screaming about this from the rooftops? Why aren't we shoving this in the headlines, throwing parades, naming newborns after oil rigs? Let me tell you something, while other nations are out here sweating bullets over how to pay for their next fuel import, the Philippines just walked into the room holding a giant receipt from Mother Nature. And it says, congratulations. You're rich. Stop acting poor. We're talking about something that could actually change the game. Not a gimmick. Not a TikTok trend. Not some fancy branding campaign. Real, black gold kind of change. But of course, most folks are too busy scrolling cat videos to notice. That's the tragedy. That's the rage. You know how many people daydream about becoming the next Dubai? Or about breaking free from energy dependence like it's some kind of mythical dragon to slay? Well, this archipelago we call home just might be sitting on the sword. I'm talking about reserves that could put 2% GDP growth on cruise control. You don't even have to try hard. Just keep digging. Just let Shell and Exxon do their thing. Sit back, manage the profits well, and boom, the Philippines becomes a player. Not a backup dancer. Not an extra. A headliner. So the only question is, will we finally act like a country that believes in its own damn potential? Or will we fumble it? Again? Alright, here's the cold hard facts. The kind that should have made national news 5 times already. Massive oil and gas discovery off Palawan. 3.2 B barrels of oil. 2.16 TCU. Foot. Of gas. Cabla oil field expected to yield 6 B barrels. More potential from San Badina gas field. EO no. 51 streamlining exploration processes. Partnerships with Shell, ExxonMobil. Expected to add 2% to GDP yearly. Creation of the Maharlika Investment Fund for long-term wealth management. Now here's where I lose my patience, and maybe my voice. We've got oil. We've got gas. We've got geography on lock. But wait, plot twist. That's not the only trick up our sleeve. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just a comeback story. This is a freaking economic remix, and it's got more layers than your tita's lasagna. But here's the part that drives me nuts. Instead of being excited, most folks are sleepwalking through this revolution. Like, hello? Did we all collectively decide to ignore the fact that the Philippines is quietly becoming a tech-savvy, service-dominating, mineral-rich, tourist-welcoming, clean energy-building beast of a country? No? Just me seeing it? Alright, let's talk BPO. Not the sexiest acronym in the world, I get it. But let me spell it out for you, $30 billion. With AB. That's like giving every Filipino a large McDo meal with fries and a sundae, every single day for a year. And that's just from answering phone calls, managing data, and doing back-end wizardry from home. Meanwhile, other countries are still stuck explaining what remote work is to their grandmas. Now tourism, we got slapped hard during COVID, no denying that. But now, we're back, baby. Over 5 million visitors last year. And aiming for 7.7 million? That's not optimism, that's confidence with SPF 100. But here's the kicker, rare earth minerals. You know, the stuff that powers Teslas, smartphones, satellites? Yeah, we've got nickel, cobalt. A literal EV battery buffet just chillin' underground. While the rest of the world's fighting over lithium like it's the last piece of lechon at Christmas, we're sitting on a gold mine, and barely talking about it. And don't even get me started on renewable energy. Wind. Solar. Terra Solar sounds like a Marvel villain, but it's actually a game-changing project. We've got wind farms that can put Dutch windmills to shame, and we're targeting 35% renewables by 2030. Let me ask you this, why are we not hyping this up every second? Why do we still carry this defeated tone in our voices, like we're not already halfway to becoming Southeast Asia's economic powerhouse? Because let me tell you something most people won't, the Philippines isn't waiting to be saved anymore. It's building its way out of poverty, crisis, and corruption. And if you can't see it, maybe you're part of the problem. Here's the hard truth, this isn't a fairy tale. It's a blueprint. One we can either follow, or mess up again. Your choice. Now let's look at the proof. BPO sector now a $30 billion industry with 1.5 M plus workers. Tourism bounce back, 5 M plus visitors last year, goal of 7.7 M. Rare earth minerals, nickel, cobalt, position PH for EV battery supply chains. Renewable energy growth, solar, Terra Solar, wind projects. Goal, 35% renewable energy by 2030. You thought we were done? Please. We're just getting warmed up. You really think a country can become an economic powerhouse without joining the digital arms race? Get real. If you're not digitally dominant, you're digitally irrelevant. And guess what? The Philippines is no longer playing catch-up. We're flipping the damn table. Let's talk reality. We are living in a country where even your neighborhood Tindera is now a certified Shopee queen. Kids aren't just watching TikToks, they're flipping products and running micro-businesses on their phones. This is not your Lola's sorry store economy anymore. This is full-blown digital hustle culture. We've got an exploding digital economy that's faster than your uncle switching political alliances before election season. Mobile wallets? Everywhere. Gcash is the new bank. Maya is the new mall. You don't even need to leave your house to blow your entire sweldo anymore. Just one tap and boom, you're broke in style. But it's not just consumer stuff, it's the big players too. MVFG and Ayala Corporation didn't drop $800 million just because they were bored. They see what half of US don't. The Philippines is a digital gold mine. And while we're out here arguing on Facebook, SpaceX is launching $4.9 billion worth of satellites over our heads. Starlink's about to make your slow internet look like a joke from 2002. Let that sink in. Elon Musk, the man who's literally trying to colonize Mars, looked at our country and said, "Yup, I'm investing there." What's your excuse again? Oh, and don't forget Google and Amazon. Yes, the Google. The Amazon. Not the fake Lazada versions. They're not experimenting here, they're building. Google Cloud Region. Amazon AWS operations. In Manila. So here's the million-peso question. Why are we still acting like second-class tech citizens when global tech titans are literally setting up base in our backyard? Are you proud yet? Because you should be. But don't clap yet, this isn't the end. This is the part where we decide whether to just be digital consumers, or actual digital creators. Now for those of you still doubting, here's the cold hard truth. Exploding digital economy, mobile wallets, e-commerce, Lazada, Shopee. Strategic investments, e.g., MVFG and Ayala Corporation, $800 million. Major tech expansions. SpaceX Starlink, $4.9 billion internet rollout. Google Cloud Region, Amazon AWS Ops in Manila. You want to know what separates the Philippines from every other developing country right now? It's not just oil. It's not the beaches. It's not even the BPO money machine. It's the people. Or more specifically, the young people. Over 50% of this country is under 30. Let that marinate in your brain for a second. Half of the nation hasn't even hit their prime yet, and some of y'all still think we're stuck in the 80s, playing Betamax and using dial-up? No. These kids are building Shopify stores while sitting on a tricycle. They're editing videos with more transitions than a telenovela plot twist. They're pitching startups with one hand and scrolling TikTok with the other. They were born digital. They breathe tech. And here's where it gets even crazier. They're not just tech savvy. They're global-minded. They've watched more K-dramas than ABS-CBN ever aired. They speak English like it's their first language, and for many, it basically is. They know the difference between latte art and algorithm bias. Boomers can barely open a PDF file. These kids? They're writing code that automates your entire job. Now here's where I get real. If we waste this generation, if we let them rot in traffic, underpaid, underhired and overqualified, then we deserve every ounce of mediocrity coming our way. And don't even get me started on the Balak Scientist program. Global Filipino talent, some of the best minds from Silicon Valley, Singapore, Germany, are coming home. Coming back to build, to teach, to lead. And if we're too prideful or corrupt or disorganized to let them flourish, we're fools. Straight up. Let me ask you something. Are we building a country worth returning to? Or are we just giving them more reasons to stay away? Because I swear, we don't lack talent. We lack faith in our own people. We keep waiting for foreigners to validate us, while our youth are out here begging for a chance to prove themselves. So wake up. The future is here. And it's young. It's smart. And it's done waiting for permission. You made it this far? Good. Because now it's time we stop the celebration and face the dirty mirror we've been too scared to look at. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Philippines is booming, but it's also bleeding. Corruption? Oh, it's not a bug. It's a feature. It's baked into the system like sugar in Halo Halo. And we act shocked every time some big fish gets caught stealing, when we all know the small ones have been chewing at the bottom for decades. Wealth inequality? Please. You've got kids coding AI in Makati, while others still share a banana for breakfast in a province with 1 bar of signal and 0 bars of hope. Some areas still don't have clean water, but guess what? We have beauty pageants sponsored by bottled water companies. If that's not irony, I don't know what is. And then there's climate change. Yay. The global disaster nobody ordered, but the Philippines gets express delivery every year. Typhoons don't even knock anymore. They just barge in, wreck everything, and leave you rebuilding with duct tape and faith. But here's the plot twist. We don't break. You see a problem. We see a workaround. You see flooding. We see an opportunity to sell inflatable boats. That's the Filipino spirit, annoyingly optimistic, impossibly resilient, and a little too good at laughing through trauma. Still, let's not sugarcoat it. Hope is not a strategy. We need more than Kaya Nathan to. We need systems. Solutions. Digitalized government services, so you're not bribing your way through a license renewal. Mass transit investments, so your daily commute doesn't feel like the Hunger Games. And real disaster preparedness, not just relief packs and photo ops. We're tired of reacting. It's time to build a country that doesn't break every time the clouds get mad. So I'll leave you with this. Are we finally brave enough to fix the ugly parts of our success story? Or are we going to keep pretending we're fine just because we learned how to smile while drowning? You want to know what's harder than balancing on a coconut tree during a typhoon? Being the Philippines in the middle of a US-China arm wrestle. We're not just stuck between two giants, we're the chessboard. And while the US and China play Godzilla versus King Kong, we're down here like, hey, can we just not get crushed? And don't give me that neutral stance fairy tale. We've been trying to play both sides like a desperate Tindra at a paling shouting, Billy Nadito, Puig Rin Dune. But geopolitics ain't retail. You can't sell loyalty by the kilo. On one hand, you've got the US-Philippine SOMIA, a military agreement that basically says, hey bro, I trust you with my secret files, let's be besties again. On the other, China's staring at us like a tiger eyeing a lechon, and we're the lechon. But here's the twist, we're not stupid. We're playing it smart. Look at Chevron's $5 billion investment. That's not just a business deal, that's a move on the board that says, we'll power up with allies who don't accidentally crash into our coast guards. Meanwhile, our energy index? Up 22%. That's not just a number, that's confidence. That's the market saying, hey Philippines, maybe you're not just some banana republic after all. And when PXP Energy and Felix Petroleum stocks doubled, that was the universe winking at us. For once, the country's getting paid for playing it cool. Oh, and $1.2 billion in foreign investments, with the Philippine Stock Exchange hitting an all-time high. That's not a fluke. That's strategy. That's knowing where to stand just far enough from both bullies to get your lunch paid for, without getting punched in the face. Now, I'll ask you straight. Are we brave enough to keep playing this game like chess masters, not pawns? Because this isn't just politics. This is survival. And right now, the whole world is watching if we flinch. You want to talk about potential? I'm so sick and tired of people whispering about the Philippines like it's that maybe someday kind of country. Bro, someday is now, and if we miss this moment again, it's on us. Look around. Mint, Gcash, Tsumu, Our startups are finally doing more than just making another delivery app or trying to be the next Grab clone. They're becoming real tech titans. Gcash isn't just an e-wallet anymore. It's a freaking financial ecosystem, and half of y'all are still sending money to your cousins using 7-Eleven receipts. Wake up. And have you seen what's happening in Batangas? $15 billion going into a petrochemical complex. That's not just oil and plastic. That's industry, that's jobs, that's GDP steroids. But most of y'all are too busy asking if it's near Tagaytay to realize what that actually means. Now don't get it twisted. We're not here to play support character in Asia's economic Avengers. No. We are lining up to be a superpower. But here's the real talk. Do we actually want it? Because being a superpower ain't just about wearing barongs and smiling for the camera at ASEAN summits. It's about making hard decisions, pissing people off for the right reasons, and leading with vision instead of vibes. Let me ask you something. Are we gonna be the Singapore of the South, or the YouTube comment section of Asia? 'Cause right now, we're flirting with both identities, and only one gets invited to the G20. It's time to stop acting like we're always the victim of colonizers, corruption, or China's latest hobby. That narrative is tired. We've got the youngest population, we've got talent, we've got tech, and for once, we've got money backing the talk. The question is, do we have the spine to own the future? Because here's what's really happening.